Hello friends, and welcome to Escaping the Mouse with your host, me, Drywall. Alright, it's actually about midday already on my third day. I decided to finish up the prep work in the kitchen without doing any video on that. I've kind of done 2 days of prep work already, so I didn't really want to start a third day of prep work. So I got that finished, and this kitchen is basically about ready to go. I got a couple more things to do, but let me show you what I've done so far. Alright, so I've got the plastic wrap dangling down across all the cabinets and stuff. You recall I didn't do this one yesterday because I was cooking something in the oven. Well, it's cooled off now, and that's ready to go. We're all the way around on the microwave. I've got some protective paper on top of the refrigerator. I've got protective paper on top of the range and the counter in here. Got the dishwasher covered up because it kind of sticks out a little bit. I'm not really covering up the cabinets here because the countertop kind of hangs over the edge, so it'll protect that from anything that comes down from the ceiling. And I've also taped up the floor. So that's pretty much ready. So I got a couple more things I want to do before we actually start painting in here, and let me show you what those are. These are some of the holes that held shelves, or even probably, I think in this case, like pictures and stuff that used to be here at some point, that when they put the shelves in here, they just didn't even cover up the holes. And so I want to patch up all these holes, and I've kind of marked the ones I want to patch up because certain ones I want to leave. That one, for instance, is going to stay because that's part of the system that holds the shelf in place. But these got to go. I think even maybe this one's going to go. I'm going to probably pull that one out too and redo that. This one's going to stay, but this one down here is going to go. There's a couple up here I've yet to mark that those are going to go. I think those were just nails that were in the wall at one point that hung something in here. Since I'm not going to reinstall the draperies that were in here in the kitchen, we're just going to stick with the blinds. I'm going to patch up the holes on either side there. And then there's a couple of holes over here that I'm going to patch up. Additionally, on this wall, I want to do a little bit of touch-up work. It looks like at one point they tried to do some drywall patching, and they didn't do a very good job. They probably just covered it up with stuff that was with pictures or something like that. But I think that this is probably a good point to get in here and sand that off and try and make it nice and smooth. I also want to clean the walls a little bit. You may recall I talked about this at one point, that I was doing a recipe once where I made split pea soup in the Instant Pot, and I put too much split pea soup in the pot and I went over the fill level. Well, when I vented it, basically erupted split pea soup and sprayed it all over the walls, and so there's still a little bit of split pea soup in certain parts of the wall here, and I want to clean that off before we paint on that, because that'll make it so the paint doesn't stick as well. So I want to get that done too. So we're going to do those things first. Alright, so I've hit this section of the wall with an orbital sander here just to try and smooth off the rough spots, and I've now figured out what they did. Apparently at some point in the distant past, or who knows how long ago, they hung a couple of heavy-duty drywall anchors in here. Probably had a shelf or something on this wall, because it looks like there's 2 of them here and then 2 of them down here. And when they removed the shelf, rather than remove the anchors and do it the right way, they just got some spackle out and went over the top of it. Yeah, this is another one of those "that's not how it's done" moments. So I'm going to try and see if I can remove these anchors in here. If I can't, I've at least kind of gotten them down to the point where they're nice and smooth, and I should be able to paint over them. But I want to actually see if I can get them out. Other than that, I've kind of smoothed everything off here now. It looks horrible now, but when I get it covered up with paint, you won't even see it anymore. So, except maybe with this little spot here, I might have to smooth that out a bit. But, you know, and that one sticks up a little bit too, so I'm going to especially try and get that one out. We'll have to see how that works, but yeah, that's why that all happened there. So I'm glad I kind of did that and smoothed it all off, and I also took the opportunity and kind of smoothed off all these now, so when I fill them up with putty, they will be nice and smooth, and you won't be able to hopefully see them anymore. Alright, so I know this looks really bad right now, but it's kind of smoothed down, and I've patched up the holes, at least kind of a rough patch job So we're gonna let this stuff dry a little bit, and I think I'm gonna start painting the ceiling because that'll give it a little time to dry, and then we'll go at this a little bit more with some sandpaper, smooth it down, and it should look pretty good when we're done. So let's get going on the painting of the ceiling. Alright, so we got the white down on the ceiling, and as is usually the case, you don't really see much of a difference on that, you know. You replace white color with white color, it doesn't really look that different. It is a little bit more glossy. Throughout the house, the previous owners seem to use a more matte finish, and I go with a semi-gloss, and I just kind of like it because it reflects light a little bit more, lightens up the room. I've also gone around the top of the crown molding with a brush because sometimes the roller doesn't get into that gap really well. So I think we're gonna let that dry for a while. My patches on the wall have had a chance to dry now, so I think what we're gonna do is we're gonna put the first coat of the yellow on. Now we're gonna really see the difference. All right, we got the first coat of the yellow on the walls, and I gotta say, I think it looks a lot better. Now, I'm definitely gonna need a second coat. That always kind of happens when you paint over another color. So, you know, you got a little bit of the old color bleeding through, but this is gonna look so much better than than that kind of blue-green color that was here before. I don't know what they were thinking when they did that. But then again, when I peeled off some of the paint here, that was actually the color that was there before the blue-green color. It was kind of like an olive green color. That's gross. I don't know. Sometimes I don't get people and the colors they choose. But this is definitely going to brighten this room up. and I'm looking forward to seeing how it looks. I'm going to give it a couple hours to dry, well, maybe an hour or so to dry, and then we'll hit it with another coat. And I think while I'm waiting for the paint on the wall to dry, I'm going to hit these air conditioning registers with some white paint. It's kind of an off-white color, and I think that'll just kind of look really bad on the ceiling if I don't repaint these. And I've been kind of doing this as I go through the house. Just hit it with a couple of coats of spray paint, and it'll look a lot nicer. So let's see what that looks like. Yeah, you can see the difference already. The one on the top is unpainted yet, and the one on the bottom has a coat of paint on it. So I think that'll look a lot nicer. Let's do the other one. Yeah, that's going to look a lot better. We'll let these dry for a while, and we'll probably install them back on the ceiling tomorrow sometime. I also decided to paint the tops of the screws so they blend in too. Alright, a couple hours have passed by now since we put the first coat on here. Everything seems to be pretty dry. I also took the opportunity to reinstall a couple of the lights on the ceiling. I haven't put the one over here over the sink yet because we're going to be really close in there, and I don't want to risk getting paint on that light. But these two are in an area that they're going to be away from any active painting, so it made sense to do it. Also, it's getting a little dark out, so it's kind of nice to be able to light this area up a little bit without having to use the spotlight again. So I think I'm going to put another coat on now, and then I think we'll probably call it a night. So I'll get that done, and I'll catch up with you in a few minutes. Alright, I got the second coat done, and it looks pretty good. I think I'm going to call it a night now. I'm going to come back tomorrow and go along the edges and go around the crown molding and all that stuff. But I think this looks pretty good in here. It's going to definitely be an improvement over what was here. So, yeah, that's where we are. So we'll get this finished tomorrow. We're going to probably do the baseboards and the crown molding. That's all going to be done white, so that'll match the ceiling. And like I said, the baseboards, and I don't know if I'm gonna paint the doors or not. We'll kind of figure that out as we go along. But like I said, we'll figure that out tomorrow. But 2 coats on here, we got the ceiling done, and I am happy with it. So I think that is all that I have for today. Thank you as always for watching, and I'll see you next time on Escaping the Mouse. Good night.